Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Happy Life Show. We are happy. Are you happy? You're not happy, don't worry. At the end of the show, you'll be happier. And we all had a lot of turkeys, and we're looking forward to have a very happy and Merry Christmas. And I wish you and your family a very happy holiday season coming. My name is Chin. I'm the host of Happy Life. Today, I'm going to bring in a friend of mine, Mr. Tom Brown. Not only a good friend, but also an excellent writer. He's also an author of a book that I love. I'm going to tell you all about this in just a little moment. But first of all, I want to introduce my special guest, Mr. Tom Brown, the writer and the author. Mr. Brown,
hi,
welcome
Chen.
to Happy.
Good to see you.
Great to see you, sir. Welcome to Happy Life Show.
Thank you.
And first of all, I want to thank you for coming to join our audience and myself. And it's our distinguished honor to having you today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Well, let's say hello to my audience. Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Well, we want to talk about writing today, and I'm not a very good writer. Some people said that, oh, you wrote a book, Happy Life. So you got to be a good writer. To be honest with you, a good writer and a good communicator is two different things. I would say that I'm a better communicator, even though I'm not a good host on TV, because I need a lot of practice. And I don't have that many years of experiences to be a good host. But basically, I'm a pretty good communicator, and I like to convey my ideas, and I love to talk. So if you love to talk, you're a good communicator, then we all are good communicators. But writer have a little bit special skills and some technique. Would you agree with me that writing and talking is two different things?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Certainly, writing is something maybe you're pulling out from yourself, and it's sometimes there's a little more solitude, certainly while you're writing. And that's a different way of communicating.
Oh, I see. Well, I love to write myself, but I guess that I may not be a great writer because I have grammar issues, and my native language is Chinese. Sometimes I've thought in Chinese languages and try to translate it in English. You know how difficult it is sometimes.
Certainly. Well, your writing is quite good, and your English is good, and I can certainly understand everything very clearly.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say. Well, please tell me, I know that you love to write, and you love to write poetries as well as short stories. And can you tell me what motivates you start writing, and when have you started the passion of writing?
Well, that's a multi-layered question.
Okay,
so it's
absolutely.
a little complicated.
Okay.
But I'll try to dive in. But the motivation, well, Leonard Cohen, the poet, said that when he was asked by a panel of literary experts, what motivates you and where does your inspiration come from?
Right.
He said that he didn't know. He just writes the words.
Oh, okay.
So, and it wasn't being smart or flip. He was, I think, alluding to that it comes from a place that no one commands. To quote him again. So, it's for me the motivation is sometimes like that in poetry, and so you're kind of taking something that taking a trip downward and exploring something, and then as an artist you try to bring it out, and tell others about it, whether it's something wonderful or terrifying, and that is what. One way to look at it, but in another sense, it's for me, it's trying to bring something that other writers brought to me. I used to read quite a bit, and
Right.
When you read a good work of literature, that it inspires you, and you learn something about the human experience. And
Right.
I'd like to try to bring that to my readers. And,
I see. Well, I never write anything in my life much other than, some thesis when I was in college and write a few articles to the political forums and all that. But several years ago, I was inspired by a group of students. That's why I wrote the Happy Life book. So I guess writers, sometimes that you love to write and sometimes you're inspired by an event. And but writing is excellent. I mean, it's good for expression. Yeah, would you agree? You just express yourself, express ideas, and when you pop into a book, you become an author, and that's quite a good accomplishment on your part because I love the stories. And how long have you been writing, Tom? You want to tell
well, I started years ago when I had actually first had children, and I like to write children's stories. And, they were sort of part of the inspiration for the stories, and I would write them and tuck them away in my desk. And also from time to time I would write short stories. And but as I got older, I guess when I hit my midlife crisis period, so I thought, well, it's time to be more serious about it. And so I wrote more short stories and novellas, and back in around 2001 I began Journey to Shoshen.
Right.
And
novella. You just mentioned the word novella and short stories. Would you mind to explain to our audience what difference between a novella and story or short story?
Well, sure. A novella is kind of a short novel.
Okay.
They're often, I think they're like about 50,000 words
Okay.
or more. A short story could be like 10 to 30,000 words, maybe maybe higher. But
okay. So novella is a little bit more detailed, descriptive. Short story is about telling a story.
well, they're that's hard to say what the
Definition.
the definitions really are. I mean, a short story. Some short stories tell more than a whole novel.
Oh, that's
And
very
so
true.
there are all kinds of novels, and sometimes sometimes you wonder if some authors, if they're paid by the word,
To make that length longer, huh?
Yeah, but so there are different levels, and but essentially most. Well, at least most of what I write tells a story.
Right, I understand that. And you also write some extremely,
fiction.
to me, very descriptive poem or poetries. And I love several. One you're talking about a turtle as well. And I was inspired by it too. So we're going to talk about that in a little while with my audience. Because I also write, it just happened to be that way. I wrote 68 short stories. They are very, very short. But each story, it comes up with a meaning, a proverb, philosophy. So, so I guess my short story, 68 of them, they are very, very short, but they're long lasting. So short may not be bad, right? Would you agree with that? Sometimes
Yes.
short is the strength.
Certainly, and I mean, flash fiction is very popular today too. But yeah, fables and things that are right to the point.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's the best way to say it.
That's the best way to say it.
Straightforward.
Straightforward. Well, I mean, that's, and talking about writing books, and as what I explained to you and my audience a little while ago, and I never thought that I became a writer. And several years ago, I was invited by a local high school and talking to 5 different classes of students. And my purpose there was to encourage them find happiness in life and also further their education after high school. And right after my presentation, a lot of students came and thanked me and embraced my message, how we can live a happy life and emphasize the importance of education now that they are changing their mind of learning and continue to be educated. So, not only that, the English department teacher asked them to evaluate my speech as a homework assignment thereafter. I asked the teacher, can I see those comments or maybe, writing about my presentation? He said, well, no, we can't because it's a homework assignment. But I said, well, just make a copy. I just want to see it. And over 100 some homework assignments or comments or whatever, the writing. And after I read them, I made a copy of it. Those letters and comments about my presentation of how we can live a happy life inspired me so much. And I never write or thought of becoming a writer. And took me, about 4 months. And I spent 10, 15, 17 hours at night. Woke up in the middle of the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then write until next morning and start working again, tirelessly. And I think writing and inspiration, do you sometimes have the same feeling that when you want to write something that you never feel tired, you spend hours and hours to try to accomplish your work and give you a drive behind it?
Yeah, that's happened. And there are poems where I've woken up at 3 in the morning and written poems. When I was writing the short stories for Journey to Shoshan, sometimes I would wake up and work on it.
Work on it, yeah. So so same here. And all of a sudden that it only took me a little bit more than 3 months, and I finished writing 68 stories, and 9 stories helping and attitude, 9 stories. They are building a roof for my audience. The reason that I want to write this book is try to build a home for my audience, living a happy life home. So, and then the columns to be anchoring the roof are patience, passion, saying yes we can, love, improvement, and fairness. And I also had a little idea about education is the foundation of mankind. So I built a little home foundation with education, the roof, when you have positive attitude, when you have the helping mentality, and all the major components, and build a home for yourself. And that's how I structured my book. So tell me, how do you structure your books? Do you come up with a theme? I talk to some authors that they have a story lined up, and some of them say, I don't have a story lined up, I just continue to write, and whatever comes to my mind, I just keep typing and become a quick story. And some people say, well, I already know the answer. And then I walk backwards from the end of the story, coming back to the beginning of the story. So everyone have a little bit of different style. So tell me about your styles, Mr. Brown.
Well, most of the stories I write, I plan and make an outline.
Okay.
And but I'm working on a novel right now, historical fiction, and I have a flow chart.
Okay.
And next I will actually outline it on paper.
Okay.
But I do this for almost all the short stories I write. So I choose my characters. I think of key scenes that I want during the story, and I might even write some of those at the beginning. And then I think of a way to connect the major scenes and sort of write in getting from one place to another in between. And then there's always the conclusion, and you just sort of, well, that may just happen, when I get there. So,
so some people think